All right, let's dive into a wild story about a boy named Jacob Portman, a collection of very strange old photographs, and a hidden world that's more real than you can possibly imagine. We're going to unpack the beautiful and bizarre mystery of Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, where fairy tales, well, they're not just stories. So the book kicks off with this quote, and honestly, it sets the stage perfectly. It's this idea that when the real world gets too harsh, we run to stories for safety. And as we're about to find out, for some people, those fables aren't just an escape. They're the only home they've got. So let me just ask you this. What if all those crazy bedtime stories you were told as a kid, the ones you eventually rolled your eyes at and stopped believing, turned out to be completely true? And not just true, but your family's story. Well, for our hero, Jacob, that is exactly what's about to happen. Okay, so let's meet Jacob Portman. On the surface, his life is painfully normal. We're talking Florida suburbia, but his childhood was built on the incredible stories of his grandfather, Abe, who swore he grew up in a Welsh orphanage with some, let's just say, unusual children, and he claimed he had the photos to prove it. And these were the photos. I mean, look at them. A floating girl, a kid holding a huge boulder like it's a beach ball, an empty suit of clothes just standing there. As a kid, Jacob totally believed it all. It was magic. But then, he grew up. He got cynical, and he decided they were just clever fakes, tall tales from a quirky old man. And this is where the story takes a sharp, dark turn. One night, Jacob gets a frantic call from his grandpa and finds him dying in the woods, attacked by something awful. But the truly terrifying part? Jacob sees a monster looming over him, a horrific, tentacle-mouthed creature that, somehow, no one else can see. With his last breath, his grandfather gives him these cryptic words, "Find the bird," in the loop, a date from decades ago. To anyone else, it would sound like gibberish, but for Jacob, this becomes an absolute obsession. It's the last clue to figuring out who his grandfather really was, and maybe, just maybe, proving he isn't losing his mind. After that night, as you can imagine, Jacob is completely traumatized. He's got these horrific nightmares, he's sent to a psychiatrist, and pretty much everyone, including a part of Jacob himself, thinks he just hallucinated the monster. But those last words, they don't feel like a nightmare. They feel like instructions, like a mission. So, his therapist suggests he should go to the island from the stories to face his trauma head on. Jacob convinces his dad, and they travel to this tiny, remote island in Wales. He finds the children's home, but it's a ruin. It looks like it was bombed out during World War II and has been abandoned ever since. The mystery just gets deeper. He's just about to give up hope when he remembers part of the riddle, the old man's grave. He finds this ancient stone cairn in a bog. Acting on a total hunch, he steps through it and enters a time loop. It's not just a place, you see. It's a bubble in time where things work differently. Jacob steps out of the foggy, modern-day ruins and into a warm, sunny afternoon on September 3rd, 1940. This is the exact day the house was supposed to be destroyed by a bomb in the war. Inside the loop, that single day just resets, over and over again, every evening, forever keeping the house and everyone in it safe. And inside this repeating day, the house is perfect. It's alive. And to Jacob's absolute astonishment, so are the children from his grandfather's photos. They are real. And they haven't aged a single day since 1940. Every story, every picture, it was all true. So let's meet a few of them. First up is Emma Bloom. She can literally create fire with her bare hands, and her personality is just as fiery and fierce. Turns out she was in love with Jacob's grandfather, Abe, which, makes things a little bit complicated for Jacob. Then you've got Millard Nullings, the invisible boy. He's a brilliant scholar who spends his never-ending day documenting everything that happens. But just think about that for a second. He's a permanent observer, always present but never actually seen. And here's Olive. Her ability seems like a dream. She can float, but she's actually lighter than air. So if she's not careful, she'll just float away. She has to wear these heavy lead shoes all the time just to stay on the ground. Her incredible gift is also a constant burden. And this is Bronwyn. She may look small, but she has absolutely superhuman strength. She can lift massive boulders without breaking a sweat. She's the protector of the group, the big sister to all the younger kids, using her immense power to keep them safe. And finally, the woman in charge of it all, Miss Peregrine herself. She's a very special type of peculiar called an ymbryne. She can transform into a bird, a peregrine falcon, of course. But more importantly, she's the one who can create and control time loops. She's the bird Jacob was sent to find. But why go to all this trouble? Why hide in a repeating day from 1940? Well, it's not just about escaping a world that wouldn't understand them. This place is a fortress. They're hiding from monsters, the very same kind of monster that killed Jacob's grandfather. And there are two types you need to know about. First are the hologast, invisible, soul-eating creatures like the one Jacob saw. They used to be peculiars themselves before an experiment for immortality went horribly wrong. Now, if a hologast eats enough peculiar souls, it evolves into a wight. Wights look human, but they have these terrifying solid white eyes. They're spies, and they hunt peculiars for their hologast masters. And here is the biggest reveal of all. The reason Grandpa Portman left the safety of the loop was because he had his own peculiarity, a very rare one. He could see the invisible hologast. And in that moment, Jacob realizes the truth. It's a trait he's inherited. He's not crazy. He's peculiar, just like them. So, if the hologast was real, what does that mean? If wights can look like anyone, who can you possibly trust? The danger Jacob thought he was investigating back on that island, what if he actually led it right to their doorstep? And here it is, the gut punch twist. The psychiatrist who encouraged Jacob to go to the island, Dr. Golan, he was a right the whole time. He'd been watching Jacob, disguising himself as different people in his life, all to use Jacob as a map to find Miss Peregrine's loop. It all leads to this massive, desperate battle. Dr. Golan gets into the loop, he kidnaps Miss Peregrine, and he sets a hologast loose on the children. And now it's all up to Jacob, the boy who never really fit in anywhere. He's the only one who can see the monster, and he has to fight to save his new family. After the fight, with the loop destroyed and Miss Peregrine's life on the line, Jacob has a choice to make. He can go back to his safe, normal life, or he can stay and help his new friends. And for Jacob, it's barely a choice at all. He's finally found the one place in the world where he actually belongs. Which leaves us with this final thought. Jacob's journey is all about discovering that the things that make you different are actually what make you strong. It's about finding family in the most unexpected places. So the question is, what world would you choose? The one you were born into, or the one you were born to protect?